Mm. Man, some of the complaints about Champions Queue are so dog shit, by the way. I don't get how, like, people can genuinely believe that it's okay for you to just be out of voice comms. I mean, I just don't think you should ever have an option. You should just be in voice comms. Like, the whole point of the whole point of Champions Queue is to give you elite level practice. Guess what? Voice comms are actually an important thing for you to practice. Literally dude, I've listened to voice comms of people who've been pro players for 10 years. Their comm skills are dog shit. Like, they're so bad. The fact that anyone even thinks it's remotely okay for you to opt out of voice comms is disgusting to me. Just don't even queue then at that point in time. Like, you're clearly not the right person for Champions Queue. Well, we ultimately believe that allowing access to players through our amateur ecosystem is good for Champions Queue. It did come with some new challenges. Match quality was concern or area around the players expressed with the new influx. As a result, we raised the minimum requirement from Masters to Grandmasters in order to retain access to the server. In total, 20% of amateur players that were added were removed from Champions Queue after that new rule took effect. We also saw that many of our pro players ended up having to wait longer to find a game, given that more non-pro players were queuing for games. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much always what's going to happen, though. Basically, what ended up happening with a lot of in-houses is like, it was a lot of the same players just always queuing up. And the reason why a lot of the same players kept queuing up was because those players had something to prove and cared about getting better. Whereas, like, a lot of the players who were already really good didn't really find any reason, like, a reason to, like, want to queue up anymore. Which I partly understand, but partly don't like. And yeah, I agree. I don't think that there should be an option to opt out of voice comms. I think that's really dumb. Because what people don't realize is, like, yeah, they probably kicked out, like, a lot of shitters out of Champions Queue by doing this rule. But the drawback is, here's the thing, right? Your exclusive club only works if you all use the exclusive club. If you're not bought in, if not everyone is bought in on the exclusive club, then you won't have queues. That's just kind of how this works. And that's how it worked in in-houses too. Where, like, if people don't buy into it and, like, use it frequently, then it will fall more and more apart. And I think a lot of people don't grapple with that as a thing. So let me tell you guys a story, alright? Let me tell you guys a story. So, a little bit ago, maybe like a year before Champions Queue was announced, we created an in-house system, right? We made an in-house system. And basically what ended up happening is that there were 3 queue systems. There were 3 queues. So you could queue LCS, Academy, and Amateur. So basically what they did is they allowed amateur players to join, and they had like an LP requirement of like 200 or 300 LP. It wasn't very high. And so people could play in this. If you were 300 LP or above, you could get into the amateur queue. Like, you were tagged with like a bot for like amateur queue. So you could queue amateur in-houses. Riot allowed people to do it. All the LCS orgs had a bunch of accounts that they could invite people with. So, like, even as, like, an amateur, never on a team kind of deal, like, the LCS orgs had the ability to give you accounts. Like, they could give you, you know, Tournament Realm accounts. So you could play on Tournament Realm even if you were literally a nobody who was just, like, 200 or 300 LP. And what happened is that the first week, people used it. The first week, people used it, and it was great. And then slowly on the LCS side, people used it less and less. Even though the LCS players could only queue... By the way, the LCS players could only queue against LCS players, so you can't even complain about match quality. You can't even complain about match quality because it's LCS versus LCS. Okay? I like this guy. So LCS players could only play against LCS players, and then eventually LCS players stopped using it. So you know what happened? Then the LCS players started queuing Academy, in the Academy thing. And you know what started happening then? Then less people kept queuing over and over again. And so you know what happened? You know what happened after that? They decided that they were going to get assimilated into one queue because people wouldn't queue. People wouldn't use the queue system. So what they did was they assimilated it, and then they booted off everyone who wasn't challenger. So everyone played the same thing, but the only people who could play were challenger players. So they kicked out all the people who were 200 to 300 LP. But you know what? The truth is, the people who were 200 to 300 LP used the queue system literally 10 times more than any pro player did, because they actually wanted to get better. Like, it was something that actually mattered to them. Whereas, like, it's not a tool to get better to LCS players. It's a tool to win. It's treated as a tool to, like, win, to, you know, raise your ego, those kinds of things. And so what happened was, when they executed this rule, and assimilated everyone, guess what? Most LCS players just didn't use it anyway. Like, it was literally pointless. Like, it was meaningless to give them it was meaningless to assimilate people, because all it did was cannibalize. All it did was cannibalize people who wanted to get better. All it did was kick off people who wanted to get better, and that's when I like fully realized, like, oh, there's literally no point in making in-houses. There just isn't. There's no reason to make in-houses. It's meaningless. Because they'll just always find a reason to not want to do it. They're using it looking for a reason to not use it. And, like, that's just basically what happened in Champions Q2. Oh, queue times are too long? Okay. I don't want to play because I wait in queue too long. Oh, match quality is really, really high, but my queue time's really long. I don't sit in it. Okay, actually, my queue times are really short, but my match quality is really bad. I don't want to play with shitters. You know what I mean? Like, literally, you can't. You will never arrive at a satisfactory thing for these people, because, like, they're just sitting there waiting for the complaint. You know, like, they're just sitting there waiting to complain. That's it. Like, you're playing a losing hand every time with things like this. That's why Champions Queue could never exist, because there aren't enough people to keep the quality high enough to also have fast queues. So then pro players will just quit because of one of those two reasons every time. So it's meaningless. Like, it's meaningless to make the queue around them. Either the quality will be too low or the queue time is too long. And they will literally just juggle between the two of them. Like, right now, I bet you that if you ask, like, most pro players, like, oh yeah, like, there's no matchmaking involved, you know, I don't feel like my games are very good quality, then they're gonna add matchmaking involved, balance out the teams, and then their queue times are gonna be longer because they might spam it, right? And then they'll just complain that, like, oh, my queue times are too long, like, I can't play the game because I'm so high rated, like, I'm punished for being good. Like, it's just literally, like, it's just gonna be back and forth on that over and over again. It's meaningless. Like, it's literally meaningless to do anything for them. It will never be fruitful. Any decision to increase the quality of your game will increase your queue times. And people say that they're fine with it, but they're not actually. I canceled his recall even though it didn't hit him. Kind of glad he died. That way the turret didn't rip the man. You good, bro? What are you doing? Your Yi just couldn't wait? Yeah, I guess not, dude. It's really a rushed order, I guess. So, okay, the Auction couldn't wait either to die. It's just like, it's an infinite cycle that will never stop. Also, like, as an aside... Okay, I'll actually speak from people. I think Lena said it actually really well on Double O stream, but I'll just reiterate it, which is basically like, for some people, people just don't view the practice as like a game changer. So like, if you show up and you play scrims and you're on like, let's just call you like a 4th through 7th place team, right? You're like the middle of the pack. Do you think that playing 2 to 3 champions queue a day will make you so much better that all of a sudden you will no longer be like a 4th through 7th level player? Most people would say like, probably not. Like you probably aren't, like it's probably not gonna change. And so there's not like a lot of motivation behind putting the extra time in. So if there's not motivation to put the extra time in, like you're just gonna coast. Like, if you could do the bare minimum and always be, like, around a 4th level player, is there really a point? Like, wouldn't you just enjoy a luxurious life that gives you a ton of money and then have all this extra free time to go do whatever you want? Do you feel me? I wish we hadn't wasted our arrow. I feel like if we had arrow, we just kill everybody there. Like if you don't feel like you can ever get into the world's category level of play, like what's the point in putting extra time in? Oh, I'm waiting way too much gold. Okay, well now it doesn't matter because the wave gets pushed in the turret, so who cares? He ran right into it. He ran right into the gate. He never had to get hit by that. I should never have hit. That was the most random arrow ever. Do you ever go mandate? No, I'm not really in a win trading mood. No Chinese people have offered me $100 to lose a game, so I'm not doing mandate. It's just a bad arrow. Even if it hits somebody, like, who cares? Nothing happens. And now I don't have arrow for this wave. I hate it when people do that. Why are there 3 people top anyway? They're killing the 0-4 top laner. So, like, imagine if we had arrow here. We could have killed this guy. And if we killed this guy, you know what we'd do? We'd be able to get another turret. Well, I guess we got it anyway. No! Not an arrow across the map! Please! I'm pissed. I guess that makes sense. Alright, well, headshot, I guess. Okay. No, stop shooting me, that's so rude. How dare you do 100 damage to me with an ultimate ability? I think I actually don't even reset. I think I just stay on the map. My plants actually just decimated those 2 players. Holy f***. They just auto. Definitely a Zhonya's game for sure. I almost never build this item, but whenever you play an AP carry against a Karthus, you have to get this item because eventually the Karthus ult just does too much damage to you. Ah, it's my blue buff! I don't even think it's actually worth for me to use my ult right there, but whatever. Oh, I got a big root angle though. I'm just gonna keep spawning plants. I think I need to just constantly zone them. How did he hit me with that? What did I get hit by? Did he tongue lash me all the way from here to here? I couldn't even see it because it went through a wall. I hate this game. At least the Baron's gone. Dude, honestly, everyone who plays Scion right now should just be permanently banned. I can't believe I was in range to get tongue lashed there. Like, I literally pre-dodged it and everything. So disgusting. I can't believe that was even a kill angle. I kind of want to throw up. Dude, the mobility on characters nowadays is just so ridiculous. It's just stupid. How did that hit me? Honestly, down bad to just keep pushing. I don't really see a reason to leave. That guy's out of commission. How did he hit me? Whatever. I got a ton of damage in on that fight. It's not the end of the world. Well, I just need to run back over to the Baron or the Dragon afterwards. It's also funny they made Vex an anti-mobility champion, but she has the biggest dashes in the game. Nothing about that character is anti-mobility. Like, even though, like, by design, like, getting more of her fear thingy up, like, when people, like, dash and stuff, is supposed to be, like, a pretty anti-mobility, like, function. Like, the character just doesn't play that way. You know what I mean? I'm pumped in that fight. Oh my god, I almost died though. Like, I get why they thought they were making her an anti-mobility character, but basically, unless literally like she fears people who dash around her or something like that, she was never gonna be like an anti-mobility thing, because her ulti is literally an engage tool. You know what I mean? It's not like she just sits on a character and just like fears things. She has an ulti to go in, so it's like she just goes in. What was my third item? Demonic. My ass was sick.